Like always, today I'm sitting down with mayor candidate Karen Gaddy. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Thank you for taking the time to come here to talk to me. I think it's good for people to hear from the candidates, hear what your plans for the city are. That way they can make a more informed decision. And I
I
appreciate
agree.
you coming.
Thank you for
Uh,
asking me.
yeah, absolutely. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about SB 1581. It has been passed through the Senate, guys. It went through the emerging House. It is through the Senate now. We had four yes votes: Senator Moon, Senator Schnelting, and Senator Rick Bratton. Thank you guys for voting this, for caring about veterans, and hopefully it'll be an instrumental part in ending veteran suicide across the nation, especially in Missouri. We did have one no vote. To that, Senator Nicola, we ask why. Veteran suicide is the one thing that is plaguing our nation more than anything else. We have over 22. Those are the VA numbers. 22 suicides a day. There are other studies that show it is much greater than that. Ibogaine needs to be legalized. It needs to be very. It needs to be there to be able to be used for everyone that needs it. You know, this thing has been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Ancient civilizations have used this. It shows great promise for PTSD, depression, suicide, all this stuff. And I wonder what medical lobby got to Senator Nicola. On that, we will start our interview today with Karen Gaddy. Karen, welcome. I'm going to hand over the mic to you. Please introduce yourself, tell us why you're running, and anything you want us to know about you.
I'm Karen
If
Gaddy.
you don't mind, pull that just a little closer and kind of keep it a fist away.
Yes, it's
Yeah, just like that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
that's all right. I'm Karen Gaddy. I was not born and raised in Mountain View or Howell County, Missouri. I moved here in 1986. I worked for what is now Mercy Health Systems. It was St. John's at that time. I was the first female ambulance manager for Mercy Health Systems.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I came here at after lots of thinking about it. They didn't have a manager, and it was a Mountain View Summersville Ambulance District had been ran by a board. Times changed, and they needed more financial help to keep it afloat.
Okay.
So we had a contract between the ambulance district, San Francis Hospital, Sister Cornelia, and St. John's Hospital. And the three agencies worked together to keep it going. So I came here to manage the ambulance, and the first thing we had to deal with was lack of employees. There were no EMTs or paramedics, and nobody wanted to come to Mountain View, Missouri.
Yeah.
So I was also an EMT instructor. So I taught back-to-back EMT classes, and they're like 9 months long. And we grew our own. We call it the grassroots program.
Yeah.
We grew our own crew. I've been here 40 years now. Those people that I taught and recruited are now retiring
Wow.
from EMS. Many of them went on to be RNs, as I did.
So safe to say you've had a huge impact on our local community here.
Yes.
I didn't know that about you. I didn't know about the ambulance stuff. So how long were you in that line of business for?
I was in EMS for 30 years.
Wow. So you've seen everything.
I've seen a lot.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service with that. You know,
I
it takes a
appreciate it.
very special person, and we don't realize how bad we need you until we need you.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me about 10 years ago. I got in a wreck. My leg was all busted up. I have nerve damage down my left leg, and I can't feel my three toes. But my leg had twisted around me, and my toes were pointing inward up here. And that's whenever I figured out how important ambulances and EMTs are.
Yeah. And one thing that I find interesting is your IBR game
Yeah, I begin.
because so many EMS people have PTSD
Absolutely.
and depression and
Well, you guys see the worst of the worst consistently.
consistently. And we didn't always have the critical incident stress debriefing available to us.
Yeah.
So there were days that I went home and I hugged my kids
Yeah.
because I still had my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been Mountain View's been good to me.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
I'm so glad we live in a day and age like with this ibogaine. We'll get back to this in a second, but since you brought it up, you know, this ibogaine stuff, it is saving lives. One of my buddies, he tried to commit suicide last year. His 4-year-old daughter found him.
Oh no.
And he went and got this treatment. He's doing a lot better. He's back with his family. You know, it's saved a family from being torn apart by something like this. You know, there's so many people, not just veterans, you know, like you said, EMTs, police, firemen, you name the service, and I'm sure, and they've seen it. You know,
Yes.
if we have something here, one-time treatment, you're cured. It regrows the white matter in your brain, which they thought was impossible. This stuff has been around. It's been used in ancient civilizations for 1,000 years because, you know, they were always ahead of us with medicine, you
Right.
know, but big pharma, you know, they want to sell you a pill, if, you know, and if it's not in a pill form, it's not FDA approved. They don't want to give it to you, you know, so it's pretty cool to hear, you know, I just never thought about EMT or ambulance, but, you know, absolutely. Anyone who's seen the worst of the
Well,
worst.
I had never even heard of it until I heard you mention it.
It's a very promising thing. Texas is actually leading the charge on this. They already have it passed.
Wow.
So we'll be the second, and Mississippi. There's a few other states that are working on it in lieu with Missouri right now. So we're going to be some of the very first states to get this legalized. Right now, they have to go to Mexico and do it.
That's
you know,
great.
so yeah, you're running for mayor.
Yes.
How's that feel?
It's very scary.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, anytime you have to step out into the public eye, it can be very intimidating, and you know, just something you're not used to. Because you know, I've known you for a long time. You're a very
Yes.
private person,
Yes.
and now all of a sudden, you're kind of out there in the spotlight. People asking you a bunch of questions. But one thing about you that I love is you've always had a heart for service in our community. I can remember back whenever I've always seen you out and about helping with things.
Right.
Would you mind just talking a little bit about your history of service to our community?
I don't like to brag on myself, and so I
Brag away. They
tend-
need to know you.
I tend to be the person behind the scenes. I've kind of stepped up over the years as I've gotten more comfortable. I work with community betterment a lot, and the community meal that we do monthly was something that I worked on before COVID. A group of us got together. We wanted to do something for Mountain View,
Yeah.
and we decided, well, we're going to cook a community meal once a month, and it's going to be totally free. Anybody that wants to come and eat can come and eat. Yeah, we put a donation jar out there. If somebody wants to put something in it, that's great. If they don't want to, we don't question it.
Yep.
They're welcome to eat as much as they want. Come back. We have people that eat 4 and 5 platefuls. You know, it's a community meal.
Yeah.
And we serve it on real plates and silverware. We do have a couple times that we have a picnic. We use paper plates.
Absolutely.
But the rest of the time we serve it just like you're going to grandma's house and here's your plate. And
That's amazing.
so we started out, the first time we had the meal, we had 15 people. Our last meal was a fish fry, and we fed 96 people.
Oh my gosh.
And-
Wow.
and-
That is a huge impact to this town.
Yes, we have many people that come every month. We have entire families. We have grandparents that bring their grandkids because they want to take them out to eat, but they really can't afford to. This is a safe place for them to come have a good meal. Sometimes we have people come in, do some music for free. They just want to sing. We have several farms that donate regularly because meat is always the most expensive. So
And getting expensive right now. More expensive.
we always put up a sign of who donated for each meal. So that kind of gave me a little more confidence to step up. Like I said, it's with Community Betterment, and I am now the president of Community Betterment, which I've been told that if I become the mayor, I have to resign.
Oh no.
So
They're going to miss you terribly, I bet.
I still get to participate, and I'll still be down there cooking.
Okay.
So that's the main thing.
So
I am also on the Mountain View Family Youth Center Board of Directors. I've been on that board for 3 years.
Okay.
When I first went on, we actually had to borrow money to do our first big event because it was totally bankrupt.
Yeah.
I've been on it going on 4 years. We have just recently hired a director. There are some couples that they do a tremendous amount of donation time to keep the youth center going. I laugh sometimes. I say I'm their token old person that's on the board because I am much older than them.
Much more wise, right?
And sometimes they ask my opinion, and sometimes I just give it. But they're doing a great job. And then I also work on planning and zoning for the city of Mountain View. And that's kind of what really got me interested in what was going on with the city. Because when I came to Mountain View at first, I was offered the position 3 times and I turned it down.
On the planning and zoning?
No, to come to Mountain View to manage the
Oh,
ambulance.
okay, yeah.
So I was a newly divorced mom with 2 kids and was not working out where we were at.
Yeah.
Because when you come from a domestic abuse
Yeah.
relationship and your ex-husband has a badge and a gun, the town is not big enough for you.
Yeah.
So I said, God, something's got to happen. And I had turned this job down 3 times. And I said, if that's where I'm supposed to be, let him ask me one more time.
Yeah.
And I went to work, and the office secretary came in to pick up some paperwork, and she said, I was a new paramedic at the time, and she said, why are you dispatching today? And I said, I have kids to feed. And the shift came available. I make the same money if I'm behind the dispatching or if I'm running a truck. And so I'm dispatching
Yeah,
today.
you'll take what you can get
Yeah.
at that point. Absolutely.
And she said, well, perhaps you should have taken that job that you've been offered.
God
And I
told you.
said, and I just kind of felt like, wow. And I said, well, perhaps they should ask me again, and just laughed and went on. And 10 minutes later, the phone rang, and the director of EMS said, I hear you might be willing to talk to me now. And I said, sure, when you want to talk to me. So I actually came to Mountain View. Nobody knew who I was. I met with Sister Cornelia. I went downtown, checked out, went to the school, met with the administration of school, actually met the teachers that my kids would be in their classes, had lunch at Pete's Drive-In, which no longer even exists, and thought, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
My kids, I've always believed that you need to keep them busy to keep them out of trouble. And the Mountain View Youth Athletic Association was going gangbusters then. And that was the selling point that brought me there because, okay, I can keep my kids busy because I'm a single mom and I'm going to have to work 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And, you know,
They're going to have to be doing something.
I got to be able to keep them busy because I don't want them running amok.
Yep.
So
So are you saying people who are looking to move look at a town and look at what it has for the kids, what it has as a community, all that matters for people to come into a town?
exactly. That's
Wow.
why I came to Mountain View. And unfortunately, over the years, I saw that start to fall away. That's why when they needed board members for the youth center, I said, okay, I've had 2 biological kids and 2 step kids that skated there every Friday and Saturday night.
Yep.
The least I can do is
Help keep it going.
go be a board member and maybe we can pull this back.
Yeah.
So I've actually had 6 kids that skated there a lot because I also raised 2 foster kids. And I always wanted a house full of kids. God gave me 2 and 4 bonus ones.
That's
So,
amazing.
and it all came from Mountain View. So
Yeah. Well, 1986, that's what,
40
40
years.
40 years. Wow. Talking about that, what differences do you see from Mountain View in 86 to 2026?
Well, one of the the things that stayed constant is that people in Mountain View care about the people in their town.
Okay.
So I think that even though we've lost a lot of things, we've lost businesses, we've lost our kids. You know, I have a son that lives in another state
Yeah.
part of the time because he has to go away to work. I see dads and moms.
Yeah.
They're on the barges.
Yep.
They're going here. They're on the railroad. They're absentee parents. I mean, they're parent when they
Yeah, when they can.
and long distance. And it's sad that that's what's happening to our town. We need to be able for young families to stay in Mountain View. And that leads us right to the housing situation that we have. They can't find affordable housing, apartments. And even though people will tell you that we have affordable housing, it's not affordable when you're making minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look at the town and what is our average income? Probably about 18,000 if we're lucky, 20.
I'm not real
Not to put you
sure,
on the spot, like,
but-
but I'm just talking like, you know, Mountain View doesn't have much money.
No.
And
And that's why when, we lost some of our grant money because when the government sent out the questionnaires asking nosy questions, people threw them away, even though they didn't have to have their name on them.
Yeah.
So our rating went up so high that like the towns of Birch Tree and Winona got all that street money,
Yeah.
like $1 million for streets. Mountain View didn't get anything.
Nope.
And it was because those were thrown away.
yeah, and they had to redo that 3 times.
I think
Was it
they
twice?
only did it once. They actually got permission from the state of Missouri to redo it, and the councilman divided the town up, and they went out in teams, and they went door to door and helped fill out these, or had people fill them out. Didn't have their names on them. They had doors slammed in their face. They were cussed, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But we now qualify,
Thank God.
and
That's important for a town our
it's-
size.
Yes, and that's another thing with the planning and zoning. I've been on that for several years because we did have one mayor that said it wasn't necessary and pretty much dismissed them. Well, about 4 years ago, it was, it was like, well, maybe we do need those.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I was asked would I be willing to sit on that committee. So I've been working with planning and zoning, and we found out that the current mayor and the city administrator expected a little more out of us
Than the
what
last one?
the previous
Yeah.
ones had. So we've worked on some policies and ordinances.
You guys are working on a comprehensive plan for Mountain View, correct?
Yes, it was brought to our attention that to be competitive in bond markets and grants, that we needed to have a comprehensive plan. And we was like, oh, well, let's see what it is. 1983,
So before you moved here.
before I even moved here, was the most current comprehensive plan. So we made that a priority. We got with SCOCOG and found out that they could help us do that because we don't have mapping for things. We have to know where all of our sewer lines are.
Which that's a problem.
All of our electric. We got to know all the assets the city has. Just the zoning. I mean, there's houses built in floodplains. There's things in residential sections that shouldn't be there. There's residential housing in industrial. It's just a big mess. And we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
We're all volunteers.
Yeah, exactly.
So SCOCOG has
Kinda
been
walking you through it.
walking us through it. And the cost of that was $50,000. But we proposed to council, we think we need to do this. It's going to cost $50,000,
It's going to pay out in the long run.
but it's going to pay us in the long run. So even though at that time they weren't sure where that money was going to come from, then they voted, okay, we're going to do this. We'll find the money.
And so this is going to help us get grants
Right.
and different things for the town, correct?
Yes. So we can fix those streets that everybody.
Yes.
I mean, recently somebody said they were afraid to drive down Wade Street because they're going to knock the front end out of their car.
I've had several people come in talking about that. Yeah.
And so a council person went over and filled out a work order, and they filled 3 potholes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't do anything for the street,
No,
so they
washes out.
counted them. There was over 50 potholes
Good
on
night.
Wade Street. So they put in another work order to get 50 potholes.
Well, and that's what people really need to understand. That's not just one council's fault. That is years of neglect.
years of-
This
yeah.
is all built up, and it's now at a tipping point where everyone's like, why are the streets this bad? And we've heard before, people running on fixing the street, and it never gets done. And it needs to. Like, we're at a point where it needs fixed.
Right.
And if we can get grants or whatever else to do that, we need to do it.
Right. And you talk about the streets and how bad they've gotten. And I may be wrong about this, but I think it was when Patrick Reed was actually the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really funny to me that he was mayor, because I know Patrick because he's my son's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known him since he's like 10 years old.
Okay, yeah.
He's been at my house for bonfires and, boys having campouts
Yeah.
and stuff. So, I mean, it's really interesting to watch these kids grow into the people, the adults that they are.
Yeah.
And they had some money at that time, and they had money to pave a mile of streets. And I believe that James Street was the street
That
that they chose, and it was really nice. I mean, it was like a runway. And the very next thing you know, they're digging it up and cutting it because pipes burst.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Things happen. You got to get under
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
so now they're working very hard to fix the sewer and the water lines under the streets so that
Next time.
we can fix those streets and not have to dig them up 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Yeah. You're cutting your nose off in spite of your face on that,
Right.
This election is going to be pretty contentious. We have 3 people running for mayor, and, I think almost every alderman position is contested in one way or
Right.
another. Karen Gaddy, elected April 7th. What is your first priority for this town? What is your number one? Day one, what is the one thing you want to start working on above all else?
I think the first thing that we need to work on is the fractured lines between city employees.
Mm-hmm.
They are not comfortable. They are scared that they're going to lose their jobs. We've had such horrible turnover
Yeah.
in the last few years. Multiple city clerks.
Yeah.
We've lost 2 city administrators in 6 months. And like it was mentioned, the fire chief left, police chief left.
Not a personnel change. Absolutely. Yeah.
And people, they don't know if, well, am I going to go to work today and go home tonight and have a job?
Yeah.
And they're afraid, I think, to work together. There are good people
Absolutely.
that are employed by the city of Mountain View.
And hard workers.
Yeah, exactly. And they know their jobs, but things have just not worked well. I think that maybe we need to restructure some of the who answers to who thing. I mean, it makes no sense to have one supervisor over one Indian.
Exactly.
Or, I mean, you've got more supervisors
Than
than
you
you
do
got
workers.
workers.
Yeah.
So more chiefs than Indians.
Yep.
And chiefs make more money than Indians. So
Absolutely.
maybe we need to look at how that's set up.
And we also need to ensure the supervisors. I mean, whenever I was in the military, we owned a business in Mountain View. One thing I always make sure that I keep in my head is you never ask your workers to do something you won't do.
Exactly.
There's a difference between a leader and a boss. A boss will say, hey, go fix this. A leader will grab a shovel, give the shovels out, and say, hey, let's all go fix this.
Right.
And
And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that I knew you because I owned a dump trucking company.
Yep.
And I got my tires from Daniel's Tire Shop.
Yep.
And
Know each other a long time.
Yes, so we've been, I've also had several businesses, and one of the things that even though I could not drive one of those dump trucks, I went on job sites and I rode with my drivers, and we worked in Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma, and I have seen how roads are built properly, and
So you know what you're looking
so
for.
I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not your typical girl.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
So a lot of people don't know that, they
Yeah.
see me,
Well, you know,
who I
you
am,
like.
or think they know who I am, but there's
I did.
lots of layers there.
Well, I didn't even know about the EMS stuff, and I've known you for I don't know how long I've known you,
Probably your whole life.
probably my whole life, and it's interesting. Like that's why I love what we've created here is we can sit down and have these one-on-one conversations, and it's like you and I just sitting here talking to people,
Right.
but 400,000 people are going to be viewing this,
Yes.
and they get to know who you are. They get to ask the questions that are important to them or get them answered, and just a little more intimate of an experience instead of like going in front of a town hall and being like, I want to do this, this, and this.
Right.
Yeah, this is a little more in depth, and it gives a different perspective to the
Right.
candidates, and it shows a different side of it. It doesn't show Karen Gaddy, the mayor or the candidate for mayor. It shows Karen Gaddy, the business owner, the EMS driver, the community servant.
That's fighting words for paramedic or
Oh.
an EMT.
Oh,
We are not ambulance drivers.
okay. You are what?
We are paramedics and emergency medical
Okay,
technicians.
I am sorry, guys.
So for all EMS people,
You
I've
got me.
educated
You got
them.
me. um. Okay, let's see here.
Sorry to pick on you.
No, you're fine. I need picked on. So we talked about the comprehensive plan. We talked about that. I like to keep notes here just to kind of go through what. Oh yes, I got something for you. You had a town hall. I think it was Saturday at Ron's.
Right.
Okay. So in that you said something about a transportation tax. I heard may have been a little misconstrued on what you were speaking about, and I would like to ask you to clarify what you meant about this transportation tax.
Okay, that one of the questions that we were asked was ways that we could see to raise funds to build streets. And one of them that we discussed was a possible transportation tax. And I said, I'm not a fan of taxing people
Amen.
any more than they're already taxed. But if we're going to have a tax, then maybe we need to look at a transportation tax because we live on a major highway. We have 2 fueling stations for big rigs,
Yep.
one on each side of the town. We have a lot of tourist traffic through there.
Yeah.
So if we're going to tax somebody, let's tax everybody that comes through our town, not just the people that live there.
That's an interesting point. Transportation tax, I feel, is the most equal way to distribute what is needed fairly because you're not just hitting the locals, you're taking advantage of everyone who gets gas in Mountain View.
Right.
And like you said, 60 runs right through Mountain View. You can't get to Tennessee, to Kansas without passing through us or Arkansas or whatever.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Nebraska, whatever. You come down 60. We have a lot of through traffic. A lot of people stop at these gas stations.
Right.
That usually they stop, they get the gas, they're gone. Some don't spend any more money than that. Why are we not taking advantage of that and taking something that could be advantageous for the city, like this small transportation tax that would actually probably go a long way in our little town?
Right. And it's interesting to me that when I moved to Mountain View, it was 2 lanes,
Yeah.
and they were just starting to build the 4-lane. And I drove. I mean, when I first came to work there, I couldn't even find housing for my kids, so I commuted 147 miles one way every week to
man.
come to work.
Yeah.
And then that much back, and I griped the whole time because I was driving through construction from
Yeah.
Springfield, Missouri, all the way to Mountain View. So now it's like, wow.
Yeah,
I
thank
sure-
God we have it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing. We haven't really talked about this, but I do want to hit on this, and I hit on it with the last person. He's running for alderman, Toby Orchard. There's 2 things. I'm going to start with this one. Mountain View is a retirement town as of now. We got to take care of our elderly. There's not many towns around here where an elder person can move into to an elderly home, buy a golf cart, go to the grocery store, go to the nursing or the senior citizen home, go to the pool, do all their dailies on a golf cart and stay within a 10-mile radius.
Right.
That's very important. Is there anything you see that could help the elderly community to being involved with Mountain View to show them that we care about them, or do we do it well? I mean, what's your opinion? And because I know you do a lot of volunteering and service, and
Right.
so
And Mountain View is very lucky that it actually has 3 different apartment complexes that for elderly, 4 total with low income, 5 actually. And those all came when Joanne was mayor way back before I even came to Mountain View.
Okay.
And the Agape House was started by her.
Yeah.
So we got the domestic violence home. And we've got the Senior Nutrition Center. And the city has really stepped up and they're trying to help get that going. We have people that go there for dancing classes every
that's
day,
cool.
exercise. There's card games. They go shoot pool. They have dances.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can walk in there at any time, and there's
Something going on. Yeah.
there.
Well, that's good. It gets them
Yeah.
out visiting with people.
Right.
That's important.
And that's one of the things that I went there because there was things for kids, but there's really things for everybody. We have tennis courts, we have basketball courts.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to build some more basketball courts.
We are.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
over by the tennis courts now.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be 2 lighted basketball courts put in there.
Amazing.
We're getting ready to Wayside Park will be an inclusive park. The first piece of equipment has gone in. The Rotary sponsored that.
That's awesome.
We have a grant now, and with the funds that have been raised, we have 100% financing to get that done. So you're going to start to see a lot of stuff. There's going to be sidewalks that run from there to the pool to the youth center. We have the baseball field. We have a softball field. We got one of the nicest football stadiums.
Yeah, we do.
It's not city owned, but,
yeah, but
it's right
It's
downtown.
public. Yeah.
We have an airport. We have a hospital. I moved from a little town that has approximately the same number of residents. They have a low-income housing. They just lost their, they had a nursing home. It's closed. So
That's what I fear Mountain View will
Mountain
become.
View has got so many things going for it. And when I was out campaigning, I had a little boy come up to me. He says, "I want to ask you a question." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "I want to know about this airport." And he said, "Everybody here's been complaining about the streets. How come the airport just got resurfaced?" And I said, "Well, it didn't come out of the city's money. It's all federal money that paid for that."
Yep.
And they said, "This needs to be done to your airport, and here's the money to do it." So that's why we have a really nice airport,
Yep.
and we have not so nice streets.
Well,
and
that's the thing about Mountain View is we have and I made a post about this a while back, but I see the diamond underneath, and it glows and it shines. But it seems like every time we get the wrong people in there, it gets buried in crap.
right,
And then we'll get some decent people in, then it'll start glowing again. Like you said, 18-hole golf course,
right,
airport, plenty of senior housing, a pool, all this stuff. For the town our size, it's rare to have all this stuff
yes,
here.
it is. And it's just
Why do we
And
not build off those things?
I get so aggravated because you see on Facebook everybody's grappling about we don't have this, we don't have that. Downtown is just empty buildings.
Yeah.
Well, there are very few habitable buildings downtown that are empty. We've got new businesses that have moved in. We got the Regen
Farms. Yep.
farms that
Shout out Clucks.
yeah. And then they gripe there, well, we got flea markets everywhere. Flea markets still collect sales tax.
Absolutely.
Mountain View operates on sales tax.
Well, I think
So do you want an empty building that
we need all the
generates
businesses
nothing?
we can in
Or
Mountain View.
do you want somebody that sells clothing that you can afford to buy?
Well, one thing I feel that we really need is infrastructural jobs,
Right.
like fabrication. Back when we had Angelica and Fab,
Right.
those things were huge for our community.
Yes.
Decent paying.
And we had the boat factory.
I didn't know about that.
Yes, we had a boat factory.
Okay, so we've had these bigger business, and that's what all it's a snowball effect. So if we get these businesses that come in that have higher paying jobs, hours, possible overtime, all this stuff, it leads to the need for more housing.
Right.
It leads to cleaning up. To me, the number one issue with Mountain View is getting good paying jobs. Like we just talked about at the very
Right.
beginning, we export our youth to go work all over the road or all over the country because they can't plant roots.
Right.
And then I'm a father, I have to encourage my daughter when she graduates, you have to leave this town to make something or you're destined to live in poverty.
Right.
So business, jobs, that to me is like the number one thing Mountain View needs to do. We need to entice big hiring companies that have a lot of employees. I mean, think about what would happen if Walmart closed down for Mountain View. I know it's a corporate job, but how many people does that employ around
Right.
Mountain View?
And we've got Smith Flooring is a big employer.
Oh, yeah.
We got
Yeah, Smith's too.
Roberts Flooring is a big employer. We've got Walmart. We've got the hospital.
Yep.
That's our
Those are big ones.
big ones, and we can't afford to lose those.
Well, that's why I was looking around my
We've
shop.
lost so many, we can't lose anymore.
No, but we need to find a way to attract business.
Yes.
Yes, because those do great, but we need a Fab again. We need an Angelica again.
Right.
Because a lot of people can't work at a sawmill for this that, but like in Winona, they have that hat making place. Someone could go in and stitch hats.
Right.
And I'm sure there's overtime and benefits, and to me that is like, you fix that, everything else will come.
Yeah. And even if they start small and grow, I mean, you can start something small and make a success of it, and are like, oh, well, we need to expand. So, I mean, something big is great, but if we had a whole bunch of little ones
Yeah.
that could equal that,
Yeah.
then it spreads it out a little bit. So if one of them closes, because when they started closing, like Angelica and Rawlings up at Houston and Fab, Fab used to run 3 shifts.
Yeah.
And
What did they do? Like put buttons on Coke machines or
they,
something like that?
they made the changers.
The changers.
Change
Okay.
mechanism.
Yeah, something just like that. Just
Right.
employed so many people around here. And we've seen the effects of those things going out. And it scares me that if we don't turning the ship, that eventually we're going to hit the iceberg and sink.
Right.
I love my town. I don't want it to die.
I don't either. And it's like, we have nurses get paid pretty good, but there's only so many nursing jobs.
Yep.
And, my son was here for a visit, and it's great to see him, but he lives right now, he's working almost in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And
Don't get to come visit home
no,
much.
it's 4 hours one way.
Yeah.
And I would it's closer than he has been. He's worked all over the United States, and I'm not the only parent that has a kid that has had to leave to be able to do something besides work in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Work in the woods, be a mechanic,
Right.
sawmill or farm.
Right.
That's what we got around here. And
And I'm not knocking those.
absolutely not. No.
It's just that everybody can't do that.
Yeah, and we need variety.
Right.
And if we get the jobs around here, everything else I feel will expand. And like right now, we need to incentivize business, in my opinion. Like
Yes.
if we don't incentivize, why would they look at Mountain View?
Right. Look at Kabul and
Willow.
Mountain Grove.
Yeah.
Right. They have the Twin City industrial, and L&R industry is a lot of that.
Yep.
And I know about them because my grandson is a robotic welder.
Oh, cool.
Graduated from Liberty High School. Next week he was in welding school.
Yeah.
He came home, and 3-4 days later he had a job at L&R.
Amazing.
And he leaves home at 4:00 in the morning and works, but he makes money to where he can stay in Mountain View. He has a 40-acre farm.
Love the American dream.
and he's living his dream.
Yeah.
He's got my 4-year-old great grandson who's like my little buddy, and I feel very privileged to have that.
Yeah.
But and then my granddaughter, both of my grandkids went into trades. My granddaughter graduated top of her class, Liberty High School, went to St. Charles. She is a certified dog groomer.
Mm-hmm.
She operates canine corral and sheer perfection. Got a little plug there for grandkids.
Absolutely, yeah. Throw it in there.
Dog grooming, and I mean, she's doing great.
Yeah.
She has scheduling difficulties
Yeah.
to get them, but she boards like 20 dogs at a time.
So she's very busy.
She is very busy.
Well, that's good, and that's what we need. And that is another thing: is young people getting that entrepreneurial spirit to start something. You know, a lot of things at Mountain View have been inherited, or it's been in business a long time. You know, and we have had things come in and then go out. You know, like Regen Farms. That's a new thing. Right. I love that we have that healthy option now. It's amazing.
I do too, because I have alpha-gal.
Oh, do you really?
Yes, I do.
We're working on a bill for that, by the way, in the state.
I mean, a lot of people have known me for a long time, and in the last 18 months, I've lost 131 pounds.
Well,
that's a lot of it. I mean, when you suddenly can't eat most of the things that you've ate all the time, it changes things.
Yeah, you can't have no mammal products, right?
I'm lucky. So far, dairy I can do.
Wow.
Each person is different.
Yeah.
Different things that trigger. But, I'd love to be able to have a ribeye.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm not paying $32 a pound for an emu steak, I'm just not. I'm going to eat chicken. But, we've just got so many things. And I was talking about my grandkids. A lot of people talk about kids and going to school and stuff. And another thing that the youth center does is we provide a scholarship every year in Ernie Foster's memory, because he was a big supporter of the youth center, and his wife asked us to. The first softball thing that we did was to help with funeral expenses.
Yeah.
Well, then she came to us and said, "I would like to see this continue, but I want it to be turned into a scholarship for trade school."
That's awesome.
So last year we had 3 kids that we gave scholarships that were going to trade school.
That's a big thing.
And I have people that say, everybody doesn't have to have a college degree. I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me, well, why did you tell your grandkids to go to trade school? And I said, I was hit by a drunk driver and forced to retire at 62.
Yeah.
I was a late starter.
Yeah.
I didn't really hit my stride till I was 30. And I was a paramedic. I went to school, became an RN. And when I retired at 62 on disability, I was still paying student loans.
Yeah.
Now that is sad.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And trade school's not cheap.
And in trade school, I think I saw a study in the next 5 years, like for every 10 tradesmen that are retiring, only like 2 or 3 are taking their place. So there's a huge gap. A lot of businesses to be business to be had on these if they take the mantle and do it. It's just seems like my generation does not like hard work.
Yeah, and I know that's kind of off the subject for Mountain View, but we do have trade schools in West Plains that kids are going to. We got a welding program, we got the nursing programs, respiratory therapy. Yeah, hospital needs all of those. Absolutely. So trade schools are a viable opportunity for kids.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah. And a lot of times it's a smarter way. You can get in and start working, apprenticing.
You don't go to school for 8-10 years and
come out with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And
so you get on with your life. So I know I kind of
No, this is good. This is good.
There,
I mean, this is just us having a conversation, and I love this.
I've looked forward to coming to talk to you.
I've been excited to have you on too. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this town will look in 2 years. Or 4 years or whatever.
Because I'd like to be still standing at 2 years and say, let's do it again.
Amen. Yes. Before we go, the people, what is your plea to them? Why should they vote for you? Like, why pick you?
They should pick me because I care about Mountain View, and I'm not too good to get in the trenches and help make it happen.
Yeah.
And like you had said before, I've managed people before, and I've never asked one of them to do something that I didn't do.
Yeah.
You know, if it's somebody's day to clean the bathroom and that's me, then that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And
That's a measure of a leader.
and I don't like people that say you do this and you do that. I'll say, come on, let's go do this.
Yep.
And we're going to go do it. So
April 3rd, you'll be at the town hall Q&A.
yes.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Well,
I really
thanks for
appreciate you
inviting me.
coming on. Yeah, thanks for taking the time. You know, this is important for the people to hear, and
I've enjoyed it.
thank you. Well, we'll have to do it again.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I hope you learned a little more about Karen tonight. Election is April 7th. So remember, show up, show out. This election could very much affect the way Mountain View goes for the next, not just 2 years, but 10 years down the road if we get the wrong people in. So any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to holler at me at devtalkspodcast69@gmail.com. Message me on Facebook. You'll see Miss Karen around town. Ask her questions. Tell her you saw her on the interview. Throw your support behind her. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.